Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I'm joined by my lovely co-host,
Mary.
And today, we're doing the winner analysis for Survivor 47 with 15 players remain. Who is on top, Mary? Who are the best of the best? And who can we just go, yeah, they're not winning? That's what we're doing today. We'll have our rankings in the description if you just want a text version, but this video is us just explaining our reasoning. Of course, Mary, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Confessional counter up on the top right-hand corner. I almost forget that sometimes. I just want to mention it now. That's what that is. It's how many times people talk to the camera in each episode, because we will talk about that in this podcast episode. So, Mary, what did you think about episode 3?
It was pretty good. I felt like the journey part was a little bit slow, but there were definitely some interesting moments that I think are going to be helpful for a few people's winner edit that we will talk about. Overall, solid. No complaints.
Did you like the pettiness that Rome brought?
I mean, did I like it or...
Did you like it? Like
No.
is the word.
No. It just makes me roll my eyes, honestly.
Mary doesn't like the chaos and drama, but I am all for the chaos and drama.
I get it. I get why it makes good TV. It's interesting. It's funny. You enjoy it when Rome eventually has his evident downfall.
Yeah, Rome eventually has to get out.
Yeah, but
he can't win.
But yeah, I mean, it's just to me. I'm always like, oh, I'm
if
so
Rome
glad
did
I'm not
win,
there.
this would be just pure chaos.
Well, yeah.
This would be like, how did a guy who's purposely eating fish next to somebody, purposely spitting or chewing, all that other stuff, like how would somebody like that win?
Yeah.
So people want to compare that to Tony. There's a method to Tony's madness, and Tony was never just like blatantly. I mean, he's cocky at times for sure, but he was never like this villain.
No.
Oh man. So anyways, we're going to go through everybody. We will talk about the secret scenes and how they relate to each person. The secret scenes, which I have not watched myself. So Mary, I am depending on you to describe them to me.
Okay.
I usually watch them after a podcast because I want to hear them fresh out of your mouth. All right. So fantasy game standings, real quick. Where are you in the fantasy game standings? By the way, if you want to join, link in the description. You can play for fun. The person who wins gets to pick any story video, and first and second place both get a copy of the game Castaways, which is awesome.
Very
All right,
nice.
Mary.
I am 31st.
Wow. In group 1,
Yeah.
because we have 2 groups.
Yeah.
Overall winner from both groups is the winner. Where am I in group 1?
You are 15th.
This is my
So-
real team. I know I have a team in group 2, but it's only because I was required to make a group 2. Don't count my group 2 team. I mean, I put all my votes the same on that, but that team of Gabe and Saul is not my team. My team of Gabe and Annika in group 1 is my real team, even though that's not who I put at the top of my draft. So I feel like I got kind of shafted on the draft. I might put Gabe near the top, but I don't remember putting Annika that high. So I did not get my top picks. Let's put it that way. In retrospect, if I were to do it again, if I were to join today, Mary, I'd pick Teeny and Sam.
Well, yeah.
That would be my team.
If only you could play that way.
If only you could join now after week 3 and you can pick Teeny and Sam. Hint, hint, you can. I bet you overall you'll get more points by the
you
end.
can't pick both, but you could pick one.
Why can't you
or
pick
the other.
both? You get 2 people on your team.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That's
Yeah.
right. I thought you meant winner pick.
No. Oh, no. Now, winner pick, I did change. I changed my winner pick to Teeny. I was really debating between her and Sam. I was like, I'm going to go Teeny. I feel like there's more evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam, I could see as well. And we'll talk about that today. And then there's another person I want to talk about as well, who I think we shouldn't overlook too much. So, all right. If you want to join that, link in the description. It's been a real fun time. And I do post the standings on Patreon for all members, paid or not. So you can see both groups, because obviously everybody's only in one group except for me. So I have the power. I can show you everything from both groups. So,
Wow.
All right, Mary, who's our first player?
First, we have Andy. I mean, does he need an introduction? It's Andy.
Andy had a calmer week this week. What's his confessional count at?
Okay, so his confessional count is at 3. He only had 3 this episode. So a total of 16, which is not bad, but definitely quieter episode for Andy, which is good.
He needed a quieter episode.
Yeah, he
He did not give Sierra his shot in the dark, but he has offered it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he would actually hand it over?
Honestly, knowing Andy, I think he might. But at the same time, that's just one of those things that it is. People tend to offer and then don't do it. But I'm not saying that nobody ever has, because I'm sure someone has.
I think Andy has the personality where he would do it.
And Andy has the personality that he would do it. So I think that was most of his content this week, was that he was happy that people were fighting.
Yes.
He was happy that the limelight was off of him.
He was twirling his hair and smiling in the background as Sam and Annika were having a little tiff.
Yeah. And he wanted to solidify his relationship with Sierra. So he tried to talk to her, try to build that relationship, and offered his shot in the dark. So that was his content. It wasn't that bad. I probably should have moved him up, honestly, because he's still number 15 for me.
My goodness, Mary, that's wrong. He cannot be last.
He's last.
He should not be last. Andy, surprisingly, should be higher than a couple people. Just if we're doing winner analysis, not likability.
Yes.
Winner analysis.
No. To me, it's one and the same. You typically really like your winner, and nobody likes Andy.
That's not true. You don't always like your winner.
And the edit doesn't like Andy. I'm not saying always. I'm just saying
Andy isn't off the table.
Typically, Survivor, it's not like a popularity contest, but it's kind of a popularity contest. It is kind of. So,
it is. At the very end, it kind of is.
Right. So Andy's on the bottom for me. Strictly based on his personality and his edit.
At the moment, I cannot put Andy at 15. That is impossible to do when there are people who are getting skunked, who are getting ignored.
Sure.
At least Andy has content consistently.
Sure.
If we're talking about pure winner edit, like, I'm not saying it's a winner edit, but I am saying it's better than a few people who are lower. I have Andy at 11. He's at 11.
Okay.
Yeah. Not amazing, but definitely not 15 after 15. Week 3. Crazy pants. He's just going to keep moving up every week because he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's a post-merge boot at the rate we're going.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying 15th means he gets voted out next. I'm saying if everyone went to tribal right now, he would get 0 votes. But there's several people, in my opinion, that would also get 0 votes. So that's usually how I base my rankings.
Off of how many votes they get at Final Tribal?
If they went right now.
No, it's not a bad way to go about it. The winner edit that Jeff claims doesn't exist, but we've done many, many, many podcasts, and I've made many videos about,
right.
Exists, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we talk about it, and Andy is not out of contention for having a winner's edit. It's just a low likelihood.
Very low.
I cannot believe you have him higher than people who have 0% chance of winning, in my opinion.
He does have a Matt chat.
Yeah, I mean, really, I keep ignoring the Matt chat. Are we about to Gabler it again?
No,
is Andy a Gabler this season?
No, I don't think so.
Same
you
color
could
tribe.
be. I mean, you could be right, and I could be really wrong. But this is why we have 2 different perspectives.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad, and Rebecca has a different ranking than I do as well. So I'm glad that we all have different perspectives. But yeah, there ain't no way Andy is 15. Get out of town. He's number 11 for me. Let's move on. Who's next?
Next is Annika. Annika has one.
Annika like Hanukkah, or Monica without an M.
Yes. We
all
finally
the things
got
I've
it right.
heard.
Yeah. Well, we probably will screw somebody else's name up in this podcast,
Sure.
But we got Annika. Annika had 4 confessionals this week with a total of 12.
Also, we need to keep track if anyone's been skunked, Mary. Annika has not been skunked.
No.
Okay. Annika seems like she's at the bottom of yellow without knowing she's at the bottom of yellow, which is just a bad place to be.
Yes.
So if yellow goes back to tribal at the moment, Annika is more likely to go than Rachel, more likely to go than Sierra, Sam, and Andy. At the moment. Things change all the time. But at the moment, Annika's been set up that she's going to go, or that she is Sam's rival and that she'll have to go.
Yes. That's what
the merge.
That's what I'm kind of sensing here, where we're setting up a Annika versus Sam showdown. And it's not like one is right or the other is wrong. They're both just kind of annoying each other at this point, I think. But what we're shown and how it's kind of presented, it kind of feels, and again, this is how I feel like the edit is going. It could be, you could have a different interpretation, but I kind of felt like Sam was in the right always. He's kind of just like, Annika's just bickering and no one wants to hear this, and she's being bossy, and
it's a lot of it through Sam's perspective.
It's Sam's perspective, yes. So, I don't, it doesn't look great for Annika. Oh, I also should mention Annika lost her vote this episode. So,
oh yeah, yes, we need to definitely keep track of who's lost their vote, because that will matter next tribal,
right?
But again, if we have seen this type of edit before, where it's somebody versus somebody else, most notoriously, in my opinion, 43 and 44, 43 Gabler versus Ellie, 44 Jam Jam versus Josh, and they both got resolved at the Mergatory. I don't recall anything like this in 45. I know. You want to say Karishma? That's not right. Katurah hated Bruce, and that was the joke. But it was not the same way. Katurah hated Bruce, and Bruce was basically unaware.
Yeah.
It was not same kind of storytelling that we're seeing here. So
there's also a bit of a secret scene about Annika.
yes, this is what I want to know.
Yeah. So both secret scenes are for the Gada tribe, interestingly enough, and she's in both of them. One is more focused on her because she's super excited about the hammocks and about getting the hammocks and relaxing and feeling like she can escape the game for a minute. And then the other one is about they caught a bunch of hermit crabs and they're eating them. And Annika's like, yeah, we ate crabs and it was great. And that's basically it for Annika's content in the secret scenes. So like, not great because nothing like, oh my goodness, her backstory or sob story or whatever was in there. But they were just kind of more Annika focused. There were a couple other people that spoke and gave confessionals in the secret scenes, which we'll talk about when we get there. But I think Annika got the most content out of both the secret scenes.
Okay. Well, Annika for me is ranked at number 8. What about for you?
8. Wow. We agree.
All right, Mary, who's next?
Next, we have Caroline. She has current.
Sweet Caroline.
Yes, she only had one confessional this week with a total of 5. She has not been skunked, but she's definitely down on the lower end of confessionals.
She got how many this week?
She had one confessional this week.
Has she ever been skunked?
No. There's only been 2 people skunked.
That's the Blue Tribe seems like they're not really the focus.
Yeah, we've kind of edged away from them a little bit ever since their first vote off, I think. We checked in with Kyle and Sue and they have a little bit of a thing going on, but otherwise I didn't feel like we heard from them as much as we did previously. Yeah, again, Caroline is kind of like, who's Caroline? What do I know about her? Nothing. She's Sue's number 1, we're assuming. We know her and Sue are perceived to be like a duo and everyone knows they're together. But other than that, and a few, like I said, very minimal confessionals that I think are mostly strategy. From what I remember from Caroline, when she has a confessional, it's like strategy talk. It's not necessarily, oh, I hate the sand or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a positive, but not great for Caroline. So she's 12th for me just because there's no content for her.
She's number 9 for me, but the middle of the pack's kind of a mixture of people who I'm not completely sure on. Like, they're in okay spots, but I don't really know beyond now where they're going to go. So, yeah, Caroline, I don't have much for her.
A mystery.
She seems fine. She's in the majority on the Blue Tribe, but the Blue Tribe does not seem like a priority in the storytelling, in my opinion. Seems more like they're obligated to check in on Blue, not because they want to.
Right.
All right, who's next?
Okay, so after Caroline, we have Gabe, also on the Blue Tribe. Gabe had 3 confessionals this week with a total of 21. So he had quite a few in the first 2, but tapered off a bit. The one thing I did notice that was interesting about Gabe this week, we talked about him playing his idol, and I feel like he got a lot of flack from that. One of the first things, the very beginning of the episode, it's kind of like Gabe explaining why he played his idol. He's saying, I just heard my dad saying it, and I watched all those players last season, and then we have a montage of all the players that went out with idols in their pocket. So it's kind of like, Gabe's not dumb. He did the right thing. So I thought that was interesting, strictly based on like, we didn't have to get a montage.
The show spent time to back up Gabe.
Yeah. Right. The show backed up Gabe, the edit backed up Gabe and what he was saying. So that's important. Not everyone gets that. So either they just really like him, they're trying to push people playing idols because they're tired of people not playing idols, whatever the reasoning. I think it didn't do Gabe, even though he only had 3 confessionals this week, he's still a top contender in my mind, simply based on the edit's really good to him. He has a Matt chat.
He did get burned by Kyle, but then Kyle got burned. So it was like Kyle attempted to burn Gabe and it didn't work.
No, Kyle has no power. His attempt was great. I mean, we can talk about that when we get to Kyle, but I don't think anything's going to stick to Gabe right now. He's got the numbers. He's in a good position in his tribe. He'll definitely make the merge, in my opinion.
Gabe for me is number 4. Where's he for you?
So for me, he's also number 4. Wow.
Oh, I wonder who you have at number 3. Gabe he's okay. He's in a pretty good spot. I think he's really turned around and he's made smart decisions along the way where he could have been associated with people who ended up being at the bottom and he got out of that. And he's just aligned with the right people. He's made them trust him. I mean, and Gabe, I applaud him for playing his idol when everybody knew he had it. I think he made the wrong decision still in terms of playing for himself and not Sue. But that's all based on me knowing everyone's perspective. Gabe's playing through his own perspective. And maybe he didn't know for a fact Sue was getting majority of votes. I thought that was obvious, but I'm also watching an edited show.
Right.
So I think Gabe made overall the right call playing his idol. That is the right call, and everybody knows you have it. It takes target off your back. Because if Gabe still had that idol, I could see people be like, Gabe still has that idol. Like, we gotta, I don't know about that.
Exactly.
All right, who's next?
Next, we have Genevieve. Genevieve's on the red tribe.
Who is Genevieve?
Exactly. She is one of the 2 people that has been skunked, and she had 1 confessional this week.
Genevieve's number 14 for me because she's been skunked.
Yeah.
She got skunked this week, right? Or was it last week?
It was last week.
Yeah.
She had one confessional this week.
Someone else got skunked this week. We'll talk about them later.
We can talk
Genevieve is a pretty face on the red tribe, and her perspective doesn't matter. She sits on the bench, and the only time she gets screen time is basically when Rome says, don't talk to me. So Jeff talks to Genevieve at tribal council, literally because Rome wanted the attention off of him, though it didn't work that way. And then when she's on the bench looking for the idol or whatever is supposed to be there, Jeff said, hey, you idiots, look under the bench during 41. And she's trying to not be an idiot, but Jeff's like, ha ha ha, you're an idiot anyways. So I don't think that's how it doesn't highlight her as an idiot. It highlights just like, oh, at least she's trying, but I don't know. Genevieve's like, it's her only content.
Yeah. Well, we found out in this episode that apparently she's Rome's number 1, I guess. Like everyone wanted to get Rome out, but they didn't think they could get Rome out, so they're going to get Genevieve out because they were tight.
I know we're not talking about Rome yet, but how many confessionals does Rome have this episode? Just this one? Was it over 10?
He had 9.
Oh, I thought he had 10.
No.
So we got 9, and like none have been about Genevieve. So if she's really his number 1, it's not relevant to the story.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why the whole I guess maybe she's just the other person on the outs. Maybe that's kind of what it was. But it seemed like Rome and Genevieve were tight and they were trying to break them up if they couldn't get Rome. But yeah, no content for Genevieve, unfortunately.
Yeah, Genevieve number 14. Where's she for you?
13 for me.
All right, who's next?
Okay. After
Some
Genevieve.
of these people is like, what am I going to talk about? They're not winning.
Yeah. Next, we have Kashawn. Kashawn is also on the Lavo tribe.
Kashawn could win.
It's possible.
It's not high, but it could happen. Go ahead.
He had 3 confessionals this week with a total of 6 confessionals.
Kashawn is a very middle of the road player at the moment in terms of where he stands, his content, everything. Number 6 for me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a mishmash in that middle. I mean, anything below 5 for me is kind of a mishmash.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kashawn could be lower, could be higher. I mean, not could be higher, could be lower. But really, he's just in a fine spot. He's in the majority in red. He didn't, as we learned, Teeny and Kashawn were kind of a twosome, and Teeny's super important.
Yes, I think that's the only reason he's getting content at this point is because we know he's going to go pretty far with Teeny. I'm guessing. But
talking about Lavo 4, like the Reva 4.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He said the core 4 out loud at Tribal.
That was his dumbest move.
That's just not something you say. Like, well, exactly. His content so far is, Teeny goes and talks to them about the vote, about who they should vote off. So
she shows him the box.
Shows him the box. They're tight. They work together. He says core 4 out loud at Tribal, and Teeny doesn't vote with him. So,
well, we haven't talked about Teeny yet.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So far, all of his content has been connected with Teeny, and this sure might be a slight break in their path. It might be something they already talked about. I don't know. I'm just saying. So far, his content has all been lockstep with Teeny's, and that's how we hear from him. We hear from him because he's talking to Teeny, or Teeny's talking to him, or whatever. So that he's a little bit farther down for me, strictly based on that. He's number 10 for me.
This has got to be this is a weird season to be analyzing winner edit, because it feels so quickly that we know who the top dogs are, and I feel like in past seasons it hasn't been developed this quickly. And maybe it's because everyone's gone to tribal. All 3 tribes have gone, so we have a good read on where everyone's at. Where normally we're like, oh my gosh, can this one tribe stop going so I can learn about the other tribe?
True.
So we're kind of like more in limbo, but we're not in limbo. We got a lot of information in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like, okay, let's get to the merge. You're like, not get to the merge, but kind of let's get to the merge.
To copy or piggyback off of that, I was glad that this week that we had a tribe lose that hadn't lost it. Right. You know, I'm glad we're having like different tribes go to tribal, because it does make it more interesting, and we do get to see where alliances are actually falling.
And next week I hope it's blue or yellow, just so red doesn't go back to back.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's just go in order. Yellow again next week, blue the week after, and then the merge story red. I don't know. All right. Kashawn for me, number 6 for you again.
Number 10.
All right. Who's next?
Okay. Next we have Kyle. So Kyle had a pretty decent episode. He had 6 confessionals with a total of 8. I feel like he was working really hard, even though kind of felt like the hand he had been dealt was not a great one.
He's trying to dig out of the hole. Yeah, he's trying.
He's really trying. So, I mean, he did lose his vote this episode. Not great. He did tell his tribe about it, which I don't know if I was in his spot, I would have done that because now they know he's on the bottom and he doesn't have a vote. So what power does he have, I guess, in trying to flip the vote? But he's trying. He's trying to play the game his way. He's trying to be honest. He's trying to work hard, work with the people he knows might have a chance to flip against Gabe. So he's doing his best. And honestly, he seemed like he was the one playing Survivor. You know what I mean? Like he seemed like he was the one with his back against the wall and he's working hard and he's trying to do it versus like he was kind of pitted against Sue and they're like, oh, well, she's just kind of comfortable and she's in the majority and she's just sitting there kind of thing. So he got kind of a good edit and he moved up 1 spot for me just based on that. But I still don't think it's going to go anywhere because he is on the bottom and he doesn't have numbers. So unless there's a random tribe swap or something, I don't feel very good
no
about
tribe
Kyle.
swap happening.
I don't think so. I'm just
if
like,
it was going to happen, it would have been next week and they didn't tease it and they would have teased it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle for me is number 12. What number is he for you?
He's number 6.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, he tried to get himself out of the spot, didn't work, but Kyle needs a good Mergatory. He needs blue not to lose immunity, and he needs to hit Mergatory and work with someone else because the blue tribe's not letting him in. I mean, Gabe kind of is letting him in, which is good, but Sue and by association, Caroline's not letting him in.
Right.
So Kyle needs, and Tiana. Yeah, Tiana's there too.
Tiana.
Yeah. She exists, right? How do we have people basically getting purpled on a season with 90-minute episodes?
All
Insanity.
the time. I don't know.
Insanity that we can get people being purpled on 90-minute episodes. All right. Yeah, Kyle, he's in a bad position, but the edit has literally given him the only sob story of the season. So I don't want to count him out.
Yeah.
He has the only sob story of the season. By the way, thank goodness there's no sob stories so far. Like his was fine at the beginning, but like no one else. And if they happen, I'm okay with them happening later, not at the very end. I feel like day 39 is too late. Like when we watched One World, that was like, no, right for Final Tribal. That's when you want me to have emotional attachment to them,
right?
But in this case, it's like, okay, let's hit the merge, and then we need to do it for some people because, sure. But I mean, I'd rather not at all.
Yeah.
But you did it for Kyle, so the seal's been broken. I just want to point that out. Kyle had one. I can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. And Kyle is the baby, I assume. Right? Is that how that works? I'm not sure. The analogy sounded good when I said it.
Yeah.
Kyle for me number 12, but he could go up and he needs blue not to lose and for them to hit Mergatory.
Yeah.
Basically. All right. Who is after Kyle?
Next we have Rachel. I
can't believe we jumped from K to R like that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. Rachel had 3 confessionals this week with a total of 11. She had a little bit of content in the secret scenes also, as I said. They were both about Gada. Basically, we get one shot of her saying she was also really excited about the hammock. And
but that's really nothing.
Yeah, that's really nothing. So,
well, but nothing though. When we say nothing, it's good. It's a good nothing because if it was something, we'd be like, ooh, that should have been in the show proper. Like when Saul had that in the first week, or Sue had her sob story in a secret scene. It's like, ooh, that's a bad something to have in a secret scene. So nothing secret scene. That's fine. Actually, not bad.
It is. So I mean, she's still obviously really tight with Annika, but. Like, I don't feel like she's being targeted like Annika is. Everyone seems to get along with her. She seems to be getting along with everyone else. If
Annika left, she could blend back in.
Yes. I don't think she's past the point of no return like Kyle is. No. But yeah, I'm still really high on her. She doesn't have anything necessarily as far as like in the edit or in the show that's like, yes, Rachel. But me personally, I just really like her. I like her content and she's number 3 for me. I know you're going to disagree with me.
Is this because this is it right? Do you feel like you're similar to Rachel or something?
Maybe that's what it is. I tend to like, well, not always, but I do tend to sometimes, like really root for people on TV shows that I can connect with and relate to, which is normal.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like Rachel's just me and therefore I'm rooting for her. Yeah. She's number 3. I'm sure she's like below number 5.
For me.
Oh, okay. 5.
I moved her up because there's
Asia
nothing
went
really
home.
wrong. It's not impressive, but there's nothing really wrong with her story and her content. She hasn't been skunked yet. So I don't have anything wrong with Rachel. So I have her at number 5. Again, it's like, I don't feel amazing about the whole middle. And she kind of falls into that middle section of people where it's like, okay, if one of them wins, that would be a little bit surprising at the moment. But here's the thing, Mary. Let's, I'll bring it up when we get to when we get to one of the people I want to talk about. All right, who's next?
Next, we have Rome.
Rome, if you want to.
Yeah, I heard this song all during the episode last night, in case anyone was interested.
Rome, if you want to. Go ahead.
All right, Rome has a steal a vote. He had 9 confessionals this week. He has a total of 21, which is tied for the most, I believe, confessionals. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, no, sorry. Someone has more than him. One person has more than that, but
yeah.
Tied for second most confessionals.
Yeah, Rome had so many cocky confessionals yesterday.
Oh my word.
Like when he's leaning against that rock with his hat out back like that, they knew what they were doing. I don't know if Rome did that or if they set that up, but
I feel like that was all Rome, and they probably enhanced it or, modified it a bit.
Yeah.
But I bet that was his pose. Yeah. That was all Rome. Yeah, but he gets like, okay, so you say maybe he has some good content, but like his content, while a lot, he gets goofy music. He gets constantly like he says one thing.
He's not winning.
And we hear the opposite from everyone else, and everything's negative.
Yeah, no, he's not winning.
The only thing that was like halfway.
I just want him to be here as long as possible.
Yes, I know. You want the chaos.
Yeah.
The only thing that was halfway good for Rome this week was Soul saying he's either, and I forget the exact words, but Soul said he was either like a terrible, terrible player or one of the best players in Survivor. And I'm like, well, he's not the best player in Survivor.
Well, last night, did things go his way or did they not?
Yeah, things went his way, but it's really like circumspectly. Like, I don't feel like anything really had to do with his skill.
Are you sure? Because I'm 99% sure he found the idol, and that's a big reason why he wasn't even targeted. So listen to this.
He found the idol.
Right.
Good for him.
Yes.
Yes, he did that. The idol was not that difficult to find. First of all,
Mary, there's 5 other people in the tribe and they didn't find it. Rome did.
Secondly, the only reason
he roamed around the world.
The only reason he got the, anyways, only reason he didn't get voted off this week was because he had the idol and he told Teeny about it.
Okay, and
I'm just saying he tells people.
I'm not saying Rome's gonna win.
I know.
You're like defending. You're like you're like the prosecution. I'm not a defense lawyer.
I just want to prosecute. Can I prosecute Rome?
But this is not the right person. I'm not defending Rome to win.
Okay, I just had a whole thing lined up.
You can prosecute all you want. Go for it. I'm just saying I'm not defending.
So, okay, the next thing I had
go
was
ahead. Mary's like really throwing hands at me, by the way, in the air.
He really, really, really wanted Asia out, but he was convinced by Teeny for a time to switch his vote to Saul because they assumed Saul would be looking for the idol. He's a bigger physical threat. They could get Asia out now. That ended up switching again just because Teeny decided to go for Asia again. But like he's susceptible to what other people want. He votes emotionally. He wanted Asia off because they just don't jive. Is the vibe I got. He didn't trust her, but didn't feel like they jived. And yeah, he's like constantly so cocky and gets this like dumb edit. Like he's the god. What was it, the godson?
The godson of Boston Rob.
Yeah.
The Rob son. The Rome son. I don't know.
It's just, I mean, it is funny. I'll give you that. It's funny.
Yeah, that's all I care about.
It's not great.
He's not winning.
Yes.
No. And even my ranking of him is like, don't take that too seriously. He's at number, you ready?
No, dude.
Number 7 for me.
Oh my gosh. He's 14th for me.
Okay. But like, I have a really hard time. If you look at my list or listen to what we're saying so far, I have a really hard time. I mean, everyone below him, I'm like, at the moment, I'm like, okay. I'm not like going to be like, I mean, Rome has a bunch of content. I mean, that's more than say for a lot of people who are getting purple,
he does.
basically.
Yeah.
Especially on his own tribe.
But you know who else had tons of content? Banu.
You know who else had tons of content? Dang it, that was a really good example. A
bunch of people, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's okay.
Who didn't win.
Rome, I like Rome as a character on the screen. I saw a lot of complaints about him on Reddit, and I'm like, you guys are crazy. I'm like, we need him here as long as possible. Rome is the kind of character I want here until the finale. And if he's in the final 3, it's even better. He's not going to win.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I think it's great for the season. We need a character like this to last. He's a Q type character. Keep him as long as possible in the show. Q is great for the show. If Q went in episode 3, that would have been bad for 46, but Q stayed longer. So I hope Rome stays long. I hope Rome makes it through the merge story. He's like, he reminds me of JD from 41. I don't know if you remember JD, where he's like, money, and then he would like miss the shot, and JD was like very cocky and sure of himself, or at least he put on an act that he was, but he was just on that tribe that kept losing with Shannon Ricard.
Right.
So he reminds me that's probably the person he reminds me of the most. But the chaos he brings is more like Q. JD didn't bring chaos. Q brought chaos. Q-os.
Oh my.
So I like Rome. I don't think he's gonna win. At number 7, like my rankings this season is probably the most I'm set in stone on my top 3. I'm setting. I am
pretty early.
I gotta say this. Yeah. Well, I had my top 2 were basically locked in after week 1. Who knew? But my top 3, I am in stone. Like I'm writing them in stone until one of them gets removed. Like I'm not moving them. They're just there until something else happens. Tells me differently. And I have good reason. I hope one of them's next. Who's after Rome?
Okay. Next we have Sam.
Okay, good. This is part of my top 3.
Sam only had 4 confessionals this week, but he has a total of 23.
Yeah.
He has the most so far.
Sam's number 2 for me. Here's my thing, Mary. Now that we're talking about people I want to talk about, maybe we should go reverse chronological order, but then I wouldn't want to talk about people at the end. So it's good that we save people I really want to talk to.
Yeah, you do.
Till the end. All right. So Sam, I believe, Mary, we have a couple of courses of Sam. Everybody's on Sam. I'm on Sam as well. Here's the thing. Here's where Sam could be wrong. Here's how we could be wrong about Sam. The Fire 47, Sam, in the intro. Fire 47, Sam, woman holding a torch or whatever, her thing in front of the 47 logo. And then Sierra lighting the spark and then looking joyful. That could be Sierra beats Sam in Fire. Sam might be a Final 4 boot.
True.
That's what that could be. And Sam might be our like Jesse of the season. Remember 43 when we were like, it has to be Jesse or Carla, right? It has to be Jesse or Carla. We were getting up to the end. We're like, it has to be Jesse or Carla, right? No, wrong. It was Gabler the whole time.
Right.
What if Sierra is Gabler the whole time?
It's possible.
You know, there's a show on Disney right now called Agatha All Along. It was Gabler all along. This season, it could be Sierra all along. I'm just throwing it out there. Or I'm not saying Sierra specifically, but it could be somebody like a Sierra all along. Who knew it was this person all along? It wasn't Sam or Teeny like we've been thinking this whole time. Like we thought Jesse and Carla. We could be getting that kind of story.
It is very possible because
it's like so obvious from the beginning, but it's really not.
Right. And there are times this show does that. So I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility at all. So, but we're just strictly talking about what we've seen so far.
Right. I'm just coming in with new information because go ahead and tell us why we think Sam. Like Sam for me is number 2. Why do we think and Sam for you is who?
Number 1.
Yeah. So why Sam?
Well, so first of all, we get a big toe moment, if I'm allowed to say that.
No, I think that's correct.
So we hear Sam talking about how he's never eaten pineapple or watermelon or a bunch of other things.
It sounds unhealthy, by the way. I've never tried any of these foods.
Yeah, and he looks so like jacked and healthy and everything. It's like, what does he eat? Like just protein shakes all the time?
Rice,
Chicken,
yep.
Probably. Anyways, yeah, that doesn't sound healthy.
Protein powder, I mean, yeah.
So, but like, why do we find out this one random kind of funny personal fact about Sam? And we don't know anything about
it is irrelevant to the story.
So many else. Now. Yeah. So like just that fact, it reminded us both of Dee and the big toe. Like, why are we hearing about Dee's big toe? Yeah. It kind of came into the challenges like one time, but otherwise it's just like she random
didn't even
fact.
Win that challenge with her big toe. Her legs were just wrapped around the pole.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like a random fact about Sam. Again, he has lots of good content. When there's the Sam and Annika bickering, it looks good for Sam, kind of.
I think so, you're supposed to be on Sam's side.
Sam's side, yeah. We hear from him constantly. Even though they didn't win, their tribe still had a bunch of confessionals this week. Or they didn't lose, sorry, because they won and did not lose.
Yeah.
You know, we still hear from them. And we hear from Sam, and Sam's kind of running the show. So that could be, like you're saying, it could be a Jesse edit where we feel like, oh, this person has to go to the end, right? But like, honestly, the fruit thing for me just kind of clinched it because I was just like, why do we need to know what Sam's eaten or not eaten when there's so many other things that I feel like are more relatable to Survivor or more interesting? So here's something that came up in the secret scene and kind of has to do with what I'm talking about. Okay. Sam talks about they won reward, good. He's happy, and that's it. But in the hermit crab ones, Sierra says she couldn't eat the hermit crabs because she had them as pets. I know we're not at Sierra yet, but I'm just like, That's actually important to Survivor. Like you're out here eating weird food, starving. She's like, I'm not starving so much. I can't eat what I used to have as a pet. So like that's personal content that also relates to Survivor.
We're not talking about Sierra right now, Mary. We're talking about Sam.
I know. I'm just saying like, but what does not eating fruit have anything to do with the beer? I mean, they eat coconut,
I'm with you. I'm tracking with you. That's why Sam's number 2.
Yeah.
You don't have to prosecute. I'm on the same page. I'm on the same team.
Sorry, I'm just
Sam's
in the
number 2. No, go ahead, prosecute. I think it's funny.
Was it. That was it. I mean, that's his one thing this week for me was the fruit and vegetable scene.
Well, you're not really prosecuting. You're defending in this case. You're defending why Sam's number 1. Whereas Rome, you were trying to say, no, Rome should be at the bottom.
He is at the bottom.
Yeah, so this time you're playing defense lawyer, I guess.
So that's Sam.
Which, by the way, ever since I met Mary is naturally a defense lawyer. I had to be like Mary, like you gotta chill out. You don't have to defend everybody and everything. But Mary is naturally a defense lawyer. I know it's not your calling, Mary, to be a defense lawyer, but you are naturally a defense lawyer. So
it's just part of my
don't come at Mary. She'll defend.
Also, and we forgot to mention, he does have a hidden immunity idol.
I'm a prosecutor. If I were to be I'm not a defense lawyer, I'm a prosecutor.
That's why we're married.
Yeah. Also, good thing we didn't do locks. I don't think I'd be very good at my job.
No.
All right. I'd be like, Your Honor, did you look at the intro? Okay, so Sam, I like Sam. I think a lot of perspectives filter through him. I think his tiff with Annika is not enough to knock him down. In fact, if anything, it supports a winner story that we've seen in the new era multiple times. Yeah. So it's all positive. The watermelon scene is as like what you want as a positive. Watch us have an auction and he wins a watermelon or something like that at the auction on a blind item. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what we're actually setting up? Because why else bring this up? But it does remind me of, you say Big Toe from 45. I say also Tony running weird in Winners at War. Why do we have that scene? It's because Tony's going to win. There's no other reason for it. Why did Tony catch a shark and freak out? And like, it was irrelevant to the story overall, but it's because Tony won.
Hey.
Why did Tony build a ladder? And then we spent time on how ridiculous his ladder was they built. It's just because Tony wins.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, Rome was right next to a shark in the water. Did you forget about that?
Right. It was 10 feet away. Yeah.
So
no flippers for Rome. None.
That should be important.
Yeah. That was uber important. Let me tell you, I was crapping my pants just when he said that. All right. But Sam, we're both high on Sam. I got Sam at number 2. Who is next?
Next is Sierra.
Thankfully.
Also on the Gotta Tribe. We've talked about her a little bit. For me, she's still kind of low down simply because of the lack of content. Oh, sorry. Let's do her confessionals.
Please.
She's had 2 confessionals every week. So she has a total of 6 right now. Her content is so minuscule compared to everyone else on Yellow, honestly. And we know she's Sam's number 1. We know people think they're dating, even though they're not. And we know that pineapple is her favorite because Sam said pineapple is your favorite, right? And she said yes. So just that combined with the fact of her little bit of personal content in the secret scene about not eating the hermit crabs, to me, I still just don't feel great about her. I know she has that little bit of maybe a hint in the intro, but as far as just like, why should we care about her or what do we know about her?
She's connected to Sam.
She's
and
connected
Sam's
to
super important. She's like Kashawn with Teenie.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying I don't feel. I actually have her right next to Kashawn in my rankings. I don't feel that great about her just because I feel like she's only important because of Sam.
Right. She's number 3.
She's number 3 for you?
For me.
Oh, wow. She's number 9 for me.
I can't ignore the intro and I can't ignore hints. I can't ignore blatant hints. I ignored blatant hints when we did 41 and Erica had that whole thing where they tried to get her out in episode 4. And then Erica was non-existent before that. She's non-existent after that for so long. But I remember we did that podcast that week and it's just like etched in my brain. And I'm like, Erica's number 2 after this week. And you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why did we spend all that time trying to get Erica out, not to get her out? And that's the storyline of the challenge. It was like so random. And they've never done that since. They haven't done it before. It was just so weird. And as it turned out, I was right. That was a huge hint. It was a bad story. It was bad storytelling that season, but it was a massive hint. And so I'm trying not to ignore massive hints because I don't want to get Gablered again.
Sure.
Sierra could be our Gabler. See, I'm overlooking.
I want to be Gablered again. I don't want to know.
I want to be Gablered again. Yes, but I feel like, 43 was how many, 4 seasons ago? We are more experienced than we were during 43.
We're wiser and older.
We are wiser, older. We're definitely older. Wiser, maybe, but definitely older. We're older and wiser. We hope that we don't get Gable. I mean, I want to be Gablered again. Don't get me wrong. If Andy wins, I'm Gablered. If Rome wins, that's Gablered.
No, that's too extreme. Sierra winning
That's
at
too
this
extreme.
point
It was
would
extreme
be.
when Gabler won to me.
Yeah, but Gabler's likable.
By the way, we like Gabler. We are for Gabler's win.
I love Gabler.
I know it sounds like we're complaining. I want to clarify. I like Gabler's win. I think it's funny. I like that he donated his money to charities. Like, all right. Like everyone else spends their money in ways that you don't know how.
Mhm.
People can blow their $1 million or sorry, 600 grand after Obama takes it, however they want. You have no idea. Like they tell you things like, I'm going to spend it on my family and blah, 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 blah. But like, let's be real. Are you telling me, you want to tell me 46 winners or whatever, 44 winners, however many have all, oh yeah, they've all just done the right thing with all 600 grand. Get out of here. I'm not saying most have or have not saying.
Sure.
So I see people going, look, Gabler gave his money away to charity. Yeah. That's not a good thing. Like that's
When did that become
it
a bad
was public.
thing?
Yeah. When did that become bad? It's like anyways, it's a whole thing. I could play defense lawyer for Gabler.
Yes.
Anyways, Sierra.
But we were talking about Sierra.
Yeah, Sierra could be the Gabler. I'm with you though. I feel like the evidence isn't quite there, but I can't ignore the intro hint, and I cannot defend anyone else being number 3. I'm not like no one else to me is number 3. Asia was number 3 the past 2 weeks. Look where that got us.
Right. I see it, and she definitely could move up for me, but right now she's number 9.
Right.
I just because of lack of content.
Yeah. No. I'm just worried that Samatini could be like a Carla Jesse situation.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
And it's like, man, if only one of them had won, that's who the show really wanted. We got Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it like that, but like that's how the show is telling the story at the moment. So if it's not one of them, it's like, who are we supposed to be satisfied by winning?
Right.
So it's one of those two, or we're gonna be
Slightly
in a conundrum. Though things could pick up in the second half. All right, who is next after Sierra?
Next we have Sol.
All right.
Sol had 2 confessionals this week. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So he has a total of 4.
Has he ever been skunked?
He has never been sucked.
Hey, I mean that's more than I can say for a couple other people.
Yes.
Solomon seems like a solid dude, but is definitely getting shafted on Red Tribe.
Yeah.
Content wise.
Unfortunately. It seems like everyone wants him out. Rome wants him out. Teeny wants him out. Kishan wants him out. His only ally seemed to be Asia, and Asia's gone. So, I mean, I still don't quite get the whole let's get all the big guys out pre-merge, because I still don't think that's like the smartest move. He's definitely helping them in challenges all the time. So, I mean, like, obviously he's still there. I'm not saying they vote him out, but I don't know. I think sometimes people just in this new era want to play so fast and so quick, and they just automatically get the big threats out, and then you keep losing. I don't know. I'm kind of afraid of that. But like, yes, his lack of content, his only content this week was talking about Rome and how terrible he was, basically.
Even Teeny, who is our lead character, our main character of Red, is talking about Rome a lot.
Well, yeah. But yeah, we don't really necessarily hear that Sol is upset that Asia left or was confused. We don't even necessarily.
Well, Asia just got voted off.
Well, sorry. When Rome comes up and tells him, hey, we're going to vote off Asia.
Oh, sure.
We do hear him say, I don't believe Rome, but it wasn't like, but if Asia goes, what am I going to do? Because she's my number one.
Let's try the continent of Asia. And then he actually does it.
Yeah.
What a nerd.
So yeah, I'm just saying all we hear from him is how annoyed he is at Rome. We don't necessarily hear about his gameplay, his strategy, what he's thinking.
Does he want Asia to stay? Is he okay with her leaving?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not looking good for Sol.
Right. Yeah, Solomon for me is super low. I have him. I see super low. He's at number 10 because I have him above Andy and Kyle. But
Yeah,
like
because
Andy and Kyle could go above him, but like I don't know. I don't feel really good about Andy Kyle.
Yeah.
Or Genevieve.
They're all kind of
below him.
They're all kind of in the bottom of their tribe right now. Yeah. He's 11 for me, but yeah, again, anything after like 6 is kind of interchangeable. I wonder if we had
only 2 tribes, if it would be this obvious.
Who's on the bottom?
On everyone's standings, you know? I don't know. It definitely happens because in 2 tribes, you get a majority and then they just steamroll the lower half most of the time. So it's not like 2 tribes solves the issue. 4 tribes wouldn't solve the issue. It's just the way the game's played.
Yeah.
Alliances win. We've learned this. So who's next after Solomon?
Next is Sue. Sue had 2 confessionals this week with a total of 13.
We need to start over with Sue. It's Sue the pilot. Respect her authority, Mary.
Sue the pilot.
Thank you.
Had 2 confessionals this week with 13 total confessionals.
No one respects her pilotness.
You know, you keep being down on Sue, but I will say she's 7th for me. I will say she's getting the don't count Sue out on the CBS Instagram.
Her sob story was in a secret scene. That is all coping mechanisms from the Instagram.
Who else got a don't count?
That is coping.
So-and-so out.
Then don't put her secret scene in a, don't put her sob story in a secret scene and I won't.
Okay.
I'll count her out every day of the week when her secret scene, a sob story is a secret scene.
Another winner got a don't count so-and-so out.
Who?
I don't remember, and it's driving me crazy.
You can't say that.
No, like I remember this post and I'm thinking, well, that's kind of weird. Why would they do that? Maybe it was Gabler, but it's because it's been a while.
Golly, I can't go back and look that far right now while we're recording.
I was hoping you would know.
Why would I know? I don't keep up. No, the Instagram and Twitter. I don't even do Twitter. Instagram, wherever their social media accounts are. No, that's not really indicative. Other people's social media accounts are indicative because how excited they are, or at one time, Katurah spent 6 minutes explaining why she doesn't hate Bruce after like episode 3. That was very indicative of who's going to win, who's not going to win.
Sure.
You don't do that if you're going to win. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. I'm not looking for Survivor Instagram is just like, I don't know, whatever.
I know. Sue should be much farther down on the list for me.
13.
She's 7.
And I like Sue as a character, but Sue is not winning the game.
She's just in a good spot right now.
Yep.
In her tribe. She's fairly likable. And I don't think she's a threat.
Though. Kyle told her the truth and she blew him off.
Yeah, because Kyle's on the bottom.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that.
And Kyle didn't tell her the truth. They
didn't do anything. I thought Kyle told her what Gabe told
No, Gabe.
Am I misremembering?
Gabe said, I really want to work with you and I want to keep Sue and Caroline because they're a 2-person vote.
Oh, okay.
Let's
so she
vote
read
out
that
Tiana.
Correctly.
Yeah. And so Kyle's trying to just stir up trouble by saying, and I mean, he's just twisting a little bit. He's saying, hey,
just lying. Yeah.
Right. I mean, Gabe told me that you and Caroline were really tight. We got to split you up or whatever he said. I don't remember exactly.
Something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't necessarily the truth. He didn't say that. Gabe wants to keep working with Caroline.
Sue is doing good if her secret scene, if she didn't have a sob story as a secret scene.
I know.
Sue would be higher. And as I said last week or the week before, whenever I said it, Sue can shoot right back up if they include another version of her sob story in the show.
Sure.
We need one for the winner. Now, if this season is the first one where the winner doesn't get it, fantastic. That means that we don't have to look for it in future seasons. It is not a requirement. However, every season in the new era has required the winner to have a sob story in the actual canonical show. Therefore, I'm looking for it. And at the moment, only Kyle has it. So what if Kyle wins? That'd be insane. And it's
would be
well,
happy.
It was there the whole time and we overlooked it. That's our Gabler.
I like Kyle. I'd be happy with that.
We got Kyled, which is not as fun to say as Gabler, but yeah. Sue, I like Sue's character. Her winner, like they tanked it the first week with that sob story. So
true.
All right, who's next?
Next, we have Teenie.
Yes, number 1.
Teenie had 6 confessionals this week with a total of 13.
Number 1.
So she is definitely middle of the pack with confessionals, but all of her content, as we know, is definitely positive.
Everything's filtered. It's like Sam. Everything's filtered through Teenie's perspective. Everything. Can't go to Reddit without checking in on what Teenie's thinking. Again, Jessie Carla, if she's not winning, which would be wild.
Right.
Because it's just so soon to be like, to have this feels like, it feels too soon. It feels too fast that we have these people narrowed down like this. I'm hoping we get blindsided.
Yeah, as we said, it could be these are the final bosses that get taken out.
A series of final bosses. You knock out Teenie and Sam and you win.
Yeah.
I could buy that. Go Sierra, go get them.
Something like that.
You're not my boyfriend. Oh, we didn't even talk about that when Sierra said, Sam's engaged, and when I get home, I better be engaged. Like, all right, okay. I hope her boyfriend heard that one. Anyways, we're talking about Teenie. Teenie has almost all positive content. Even when something is not good for Teenie on its face, it's still regaled to us in a way that is positive for Teenie. Or Teenie's smart. Oh, nothing is ever negative for Teenie.
Right. I want to know what happens next week based on why she didn't vote with the rest of her group. But
here's the thing. That's the power of editing. I talked about this yesterday with Rebecca. Mary, check this out. Do you remember when, I pointed out when we were watching the show, when they have the 10-second shot of over her shoulder, she's voting and she's sitting there debating who she's going to vote, empty parchment. And we're montaging or whatever it's called, overlaying other shots of other things at the same time as her vote was for Solomon.
Right.
Her vote was irrelevant. It was a 3-1-1 vote and her vote was not for the person who went home. I'm not saying that's dumb. I'm saying, why was it like, oh, Teeny is the deciding vote tonight with the editing.
Right.
But then the factual content is that she didn't even vote with majority. So unless Solomon next week's like, I can't believe somebody voted for me, I'm going to go crazy, which is the only reason. It doesn't sound like Solomon at all. I mean, I know he's looking for an idol based on what we saw next month Survivor or something equivalent, because Rome's clearly following him and not leaving him alone.
Right. Oh, well, honestly, what I'm thinking is, why do you turn on your alliance? Like,
he didn't.
Well, I know that, but why don't you vote with your alliance? I guess is what I'm saying.
Maybe in case Asia played an idol and then they'd have to do a revote. And then in that situation, I guess they would have 3 people to vote between. I'd have to look at the vote split again. That's the only reason to do something like that.
Okay.
But the way they hung on her vote was like, and then that didn't even happen. Right. So it was like we hung on this
that's
shot.
What I'm saying. If you've talked about editing, this and
it's important
and it's planned, she did look like, what should I do?
Yes.
So.
And it didn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
At all.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a bit confused by that.
But the editing told us it mattered. Therefore, you think Teeny is more important. Yes, Teeny matters, and Teeny is more important.
So Teeny's had a mat chat, but no sob story yet.
Yes, she had a mat chat. If we're going back to the mat chat, that's a thing. If Teeny wins this season, or Andy or Gabe, we gotta look for the mat chat again next season. Yep. Hey, it's back, maybe. It was a pattern for so long that they broke with 45. That's the thing. If 45 didn't have a match chat, we would just be like just waiting for another match chat. 46 didn't have one, so 46 didn't break the streak. It was 45 that broke it by having a goofy match chat where they were purposely screwing with us in the edit, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But 46 was or 47 here is a classic match chat with Teeny. Even got a little personal content with her crazy pants that I have not seen since that beginning of that episode.
True.
I mean, I'm not saying she hasn't worn them. I'm saying I have not seen them.
That was her match chat. Was her talking about her clothes, basically.
So. Oh, I picked, and just like, to be clear, I didn't pick those clothes. No, Jeff, you specifically did not pick these clothes, Jeff. You're not in charge of. No, Jeff, you specifically did not pick these pants. All right. Teeny for me is number 1. I'm really high on Teeny.
Number 2 for me, but.
Teeny might be our Jesse and Sam might be our Carla. If this is a 43 situation, I just want to prep everyone because it feels like it's really quick that we have these people nailed down like this.
I agree.
I'm a little bit weirded out at the moment. So who's next?
Our last player is Tiana.
Oh,
the player skunked this
15.
week. Yeah. Well, not 15 for me, but
skunked. Who is Tiana? Skunked.
Well, she was important last week.
Her and Genevieve are at the bottom because they both got skunked, which you do not do to a winner. At least Sue could recover with a sob story later. You cannot recover from a 0. A 0 confessional is like taking a number and multiplying by 0. It's always 0. You lose.
Okay. And I don't even remember her being like in any conversations that we saw. Like I don't remember any screen time.
All the blue time was Gabe, Kyle, Sue, and Caroline. Where was Tiana in any of that? She was so crucial in the TK vote just to go away.
I mean, and Kyle was talking to her on the beach with Sue and Caroline. But like we don't hear any words coming out of her mouth. I don't remember cutting to a shot of her face, and I'm sure they did, but like, that's how irrelevant she was. And it's so crazy considering how crucial she was last week to the TK vote. Trust your instinct or all that. And then she gets nothing this week? Right. Dude. Pretty bad. I should have moved her down. Dude. I left her at like 5. I think she was 6 last week, but she's fine now. You done screwed up. She needs to be lower. I just really, I thought she had a great episode last week. Where was Andy again for you? 15. That was, you should swap those two. No, I'm not swapping Andy. You should. He's Tiana always going to be last. Or 15. Her and Genevieve should be at the bottom. And it's not because I want them to be there. It's just the 0 confessional count in the new era is a death nail. Post Erica, post them reworking how the show is edited is a death nail to have 0. You cannot win with 0. Winners do not get 0 confessionals. Okay. In the new era. They rarely got it before. Like when it happened before, it was an anomaly. All right. I think Sandra got it. I think like Natalie White got it, but now I'm talking pre-20s. I'm talking like 14 years ago. Sheesh. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Winners don't get skunked. I'll take it into consideration. Yeah, you should. Okay. Buddy. I'm like getting all passionate about your ranking of Tiana and Andy. Yeah, Tiana, I just like, okay, she's not winning. And it's unfortunate that like none of these people have done anything wrong that I know of, by the way. Maybe they're skunking them because they're out there doing something wrong. Maybe they're like, ha ha ha, production, I tricked you. I got on the show and I was doing something different than what you expected. And they're like, well, I'll just ignore you. Well, that's, I think that's all we got for this week. And Mary, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Nope, not really. All right, just want to make sure. Well, we're looking forward to next week. We'll see you all next week. Bye. Bye.